Hello everyone, welcome back to your Total Health TV. This is relatively a new channel that has been dedicated to discussing paramount issues concerning our health as individuals, families, and as communities. So if you are just joining us, do well to click on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any updates from this channel. And so this is going to be our first official topic of discussion on this channel, and that is following the RED principles. Somebody might be wondering what the RED principle is all about. Well, the RED, R-E-D, is an acronym, and you'll soon find out what it means as we continue in this video. So come along. Let me start by saying this. Consumption of a healthy diet coupled with regular exercise and having enough rest are the three major components to health and wellness. I take that again. Consumption of a healthy diet coupled with regular exercise and having enough rest are the three major components to health and wellness. These three components are very pivotal to the determination of the overall health of an individual. What this guarantees is a happy, long-lasting life, strong immunity, and of course, prevention of certain diseases and illnesses, including hypertension, type 2 diabetes, among others, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and so on. In fact, it's going to prevent mental disturbances such as depression. So you can understand how important these three components are to a man's life. And so in this video, we'll be discussing one of these major components, which is consumption of healthy diets. We all know how important it is to consume a healthy diet. If you are overweight, you can consume a healthy diet. When you eat right, it can help you bring down your weight. If you want to add some weight, it can help you. So it guarantees an overall state of health. So you can gain or lose weight safely and also maintain this safe weight that you have achieved. It also helps you to have a stronger immune system against diseases, infections, and illnesses, and a whole lot of good things that you can think about that has to do with your health. So what is healthy diet? A very common question in the hearts and on the lips of many individuals is, what is healthy diet? What is healthy diet? What kind of food is considered to be healthy? Well, in simple terms, healthy diet is simply a diet that is lower in calories and higher in nutrients. A diet that is lower in calories and higher in nutrients. I know so many people are very familiar with the nutrient aspect of this definition, but not so many people are familiar with the calorie aspect. And so let me digress a little bit to discussing about what are calories. Simply, calories are actually the amount of energy locked up in foods. Calories are the amount of energy locked up in foods. So every food contains a certain amount of calories. Every food we consume contains a certain amount of calories. And what these calories does is that it provides us with the energy we need to go about our daily activities and daily living. When we consume foods, 10% of this calorie we take in goes to digestion, 20% goes to physical activities, and the remaining 70% goes to body functioning. So you can stay in bed all day doing practically nothing, but then your body still needs to function. Your heart needs to beat, your lungs need to breathe, your brain needs to work, your muscles need to move and all that. And so the energy needed for all of these body functionings come from the calories that we take in from our foods. And so something happens when we take in these calories. If the amount of calories we take in, that is the intake, is greater than the output. Let's say, for example, an individual consumes about 2,000 calories and burns off 1,500 calories. The extra 500 calories is hanging around in the body, and what the body does with it is that it converts it into fat and stores them in the belly, the hips, and the thighs. And so, on the other hand, if an individual consumes about 2,000 calories and then burns off 2,500, there is a deficit. What the body does is that the body reverts to the belly, the hips, and the thighs to get this extra calorie needed, and so uses this to augment for the remaining one. And if an individual continues to have this kind of routine, that is having less intake than output of calories, such an individual will grow lean over time because the body is always reverting to the stored up fats. And so, but if the particular individual keeps having an excess, and the body keeps storing it in the belly, the hips, and the thighs as fat, such an individual will begin to gain weight, and before you know it, such an individual can get overweight if it is not well controlled. And so that is what happens when we take in calories. On the average, a woman needs about 2,000 calories and a man needs about 2,500 calories per day. Let me talk about something called empty calories. Empty calories are actually foods that contain just calories and no nutrients at all. And so when you consume this kind of foods, they give you a quick surge of sugar in the blood. They are usually called foods that have a high glycemic index. These foods are said to have a high glycemic index. What they do is that when you consume them, the sugar goes straight into the system because the sugar is already processed and refined. So the body just breaks it down and absorbs it almost immediately. The person consumes it, and before you know it, the person is back to being hungry and very tired again. Examples of food that fall into this high glycemic index category involves fast foods, bakery products such as white bread, donuts, pizzas, sugar containing drinks and beverages, sodas. All of these kind of foods give these quick sugars, and if an individual continues on this kind of food, the individual will soon start gaining weight that is not so very safe for the body. So on the other hand, there is something called lower glycemic index foods. These foods contain both calories and nutrients. When you consume this kind of low glycemic index foods, the body takes time, because these foods are not processed already. The body takes time to process them, and so you stay full for a longer period of time. Your body will begin to break it down and absorb it gradually releasing this sugar into your bloodstream, and so you are not back to being hungry almost immediately you finished eating, unlike the higher glycemic index foods that immediately you just consume them, you are back to being hungry because your body will just finish absorbing and using up everything that you have just taken. Okay, this is going to be a rule of thumb. Focus more on foods that have a lower glycemic index rather than on foods that have a higher glycemic index. This will help you balance up both calories and nutrients instead of just focusing on calories. And of course, when you focus on this low glycemic index foods, you can be sure that you are eating something very healthy for your body, because it's not very practicable to start calculating how many calories you want to take in and how many calories you want to burn off per day. And so just take note. One principle you are taking out of this video is, number one, a healthy diet is a diet that has lower calories and higher nutrients. And when we are talking about calories, please focus more on foods that have a lower glycemic index and instead of higher glycemic index food. Wait, did I mention examples of food that have lower glycemic index? Okay, let me quickly do that. Examples of foods that have lower glycemic index involve whole grains, legumes, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Nuts, groundnuts, tiger nuts, cashew nuts. So depending on whatever region of the world you are watching me from, there is a particular category of food that falls into this lower glycemic index, and there are particular foods that fall into this higher glycemic index. So you know how to make your choices when you are picking what to eat, so that you can at least do your body this good of taking a healthy diet. In the next video, we'll talk about more on nutrients, and if possible, if time permits us, we'll talk about when to eat what we should eat now that we know what we should eat. So we'll talk about when to eat these things, how to eat what we should eat, and we'll continue from there. So please, so that you don't miss out of these upcoming videos, click on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video.